We have been fighting in KVK, and I have gotten done with my main in 606 in Kingsland. We're fighting in 2359 on my second account. We got past 7 going on, and Pincer 2 has now come out into the game. And we can all predict, and we can all tell you what we think about it, but this is going to be the video that's going to show you the results, because when it comes to the field, results weren't like crazy. But when it comes to the rally, hey, yo, I'll show you the reports. I'll show you what it does. So stick around while we go through it all right now. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chatsky. I do videos for Rise of Kingdoms all the time, and if you enjoy these videos, please throw a thumbs up on it, give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. Hit that subscribe button and hit that bell if you want to get any alerts when I put out content like this. Well, you're seeing some clips of my footage, I think from a stream on Sunday as I was cooking a little bit in 2359. I have been running this Pincer 2.0. I've been running it since it was released, last Friday, and we had a whole Kingsland to go with it. And a quick refresher on this particular armament, right? Or this formation. And let me see, I think I've got it over here on my Sun Tzu, but I actually have Toppler and I put my Dominate over there. So first of all, my first recommendation on that was that if you have 2 specials for Pincer, just move one, okay? Do not move the second one, because you want the debuff from Toppler. That was the first thing I said, which turned out to be really, really good, okay? The second thing I said is that the upgrade from Bulwark, the upgrade to Bulwark from the, let's see, what was it? Airtight? Airtight is a little bit of damage mitigation and a combo damage resistance, okay? And then Bulwark gives you just now a 2% all damage resistance with 3% combo resistance, and it does give you the mitigation, and it provides more smite, okay? So it gives that buff for smite, okay? And then you had Demolisher, which has always been a really, really good inscription, like one of the best. And now Cleaver, just as good, if not a little bit better. And basically what we found out is that when I was fighting in the field with this stuff, okay, I did all the tests, I kind of went through it. All right. And more importantly, and this is kind of what I said, nobody needs to freak out about changing all their Pincer 2 stuff. All right. The most important thing you've got to change is in the instrument slot. And many of you are still running Raider. Raider is really, really good. I've always loved this inscription. Okay. But it's got a cooldown of 10 seconds. Well, the upgrade to Raider is charge. That's like the first thing you got to do. The first thing you got to do, because as a rare inscription, this thing is off the charts. I'm running it on my alt account on my second Pincer March, and it is doing fantastic. This thing fires. It's like having a mini horn attached to your equipment. It's really, really good. And so from there, that's the most important thing. And for most players who don't have a lot of special inscriptions sitting on their instrument slot, a lot of people are just chilling with Raider in the instrument slot. Well, charge, man, that's the ticket. That's what you want to upgrade to. And that's going to be the most applicable for just about all the players. All right. Of course, you've got Thundering, and you can move Thundering from a 10% boost to a 12.5% boost with Tiebreaker. Obviously, that's better. Okay. And then, like I said, you got Toppler, which supplies the debuff, and Dominate, which is actually more selfish in the sense for that particular troop, but it's really, really good. So all these are upgrades. It's not like game-changing upgrades. It's not nuts. People don't have to freak out if you can't change some of your inscriptions like Thundering over to Tiebreaker, okay? You're just missing out on a 2.5% boost. You already got a ton of boost coming from other stuff. If you have Demolisher, don't freak out. You don't have to freak out for Cleaver. Okay, because in the field, it's just not that, there's just not a whole lot of discrepancy, okay? And so from there, what people have to understand is that when we go through this, I'm going to show you what the results were. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is my results with my Sun Tzu with Luce, okay? This is a Sun Tzu Luce March. I ran this exclusively with Pincer 1, and this was done before the release of Pincer 2. Okay, I upgraded all this stuff to Pincer 2, but I was running Pincer 1 on my Sun Tzu for this sample right here, okay? And it traded exceptionally well. You can see the kill ratio and the kill point ratio, 147%. Really, really good, okay? Then I changed it up, and I went with basically Pincer 2, Pincer 2, Pincer 2. I left the Pincer 1 Toppler on Sun Tzu, and I put the Pincer 2 on Dominate over here on BQ, okay? But that's what I had now, but for the duration of this testing, I kept the Dominate on Sun Tzu, so I had all Pincer 2 stuff over here. All right, and here's was my results. And this is from Kingsland, fighting the same enemies, fighting the same territorial fights, and getting a good sample. Now, you see the first sample. This is before Kingsland, before Pincer 2. You can see I got 8,000 battles in there, so you can kind of see exactly how that works, a pretty good sample size. And then for Pincer 2, this is what I got. My KP ratio went up like 8% or 0.8%, went from 147 9%, I guess, 147 to 156 on my kill point ratio. Nothing crazy. Honestly, it's nothing crazy in the field, guys. You don't have to worry about it. All right. If you want to add some different things, doing my recommendation, changing the rare from Raider to Charge, biggest improvement you're going to see. Now, from there on the special inscriptions, the biggest improvement, in my opinion, is changing your airtight to bulwark, okay? And that's what you're going to see. Even though you've got to make sure and try to get bulwark to fire off in the field more, it's a little bit difficult. But overall, it's just better. It's just better. And it's an easy, better way. I would say Cleaver is just insane. But you're trying to replace Demolisher, which is incredible. Okay, and so from there is not much huge discrepancy between the different special inscriptions, okay? And so I'm showing it to you in the reports, all right? Pincer 2 getting me 156% reports. That's with 3,600 battles. Pincer 1 getting me 147% results with 8,000 battles. Okay, and so not much of a discrepancy. It's there, just like I said it was gonna be. Like there's a little bit of a difference, but nothing game changing. Is it worth going to spend 40 conversion stones to change all 4, or 20 conversion stone to change 2 of them? Not really. It's just not really. Now, is it worth 3 conversion stones to change the rare? Let me see. I think I got a rare over here somewhere. To change the rare with Raider to Charge? Yeah, 100% yes. Change that. That is really, really good. Now, obviously, for my marches, I had 2 specials, so I didn't even have to mess with that. But for most everybody else, you've got the rare inscription. And so from there, in the field, not a huge deal. As you guys can see, I was running in the field like crazy. Just nonstop. Ball fighting, back and forth fighting. How often do these things procced? How often do these things go? And it ran really, really well. Now, when it comes to the rally, okay, now we're cooking. This is a whole different story, boys. This is a whole different story. When it comes to the rally, okay, we were running rallies all before Friday, all before Kingsland, before Pincer 2 came out. And I'm running my Garrison, my Attila David Garrison, against these really good infantry rallies. And I'm winning, okay? I'm winning. In a lot of these cases, I'm winning by a lot. I get into Shatterstorm here. He's much harder to beat, obviously. Shatterstorm's got one of the best infantry rallies in the game, all right? But I can hold my own. No problem. You see it here against Bloody. He's got a really good one, and I can hold my own, no problem. Then Pincer 2 comes out. Now, that was earlier in the KVK. Then Pincer 2 comes out. Hey, yo. Things change a little bit with Pincer 2. I've got Jin. Even though Jin, it does not have quite the stuff Shatterstorm does, Jin starts cooking my Attila David. Hey, yo. Now, my reinforcements weren't that great. Hey, what are we doing here, boys? But even something like this, when this is on Lady Key's David Hector, she's got an exceptional Delta set. And when it goes up against Jin's Pincer 2.0, Lady Key actually wins. But now that you start to see this against Contrail, okay, I'm able to do okay against it. But let me show you what happens with Shatterstorm. Cooking me. Holy jeez. Pincer 2.0. And you ask Shatterstorm, he'll tell you like, yeah, no, this is really, really good. All right. And then I ran it again. I think Shatterstorm got me again, just starting to cook me, guys. Look at my reigns are phenomenal. They're great. But this particular Pincer 2.0, it cooks on the rallies, cooks on the Garrison. Here's another one. The reigns were really bad. We were getting a little bit of swarming, but nothing crazy. Just had a tough time getting reigns. And look what Bloody does to me. He bloodies me up. Holy jeez. Wow. And so from there, it's really, really difficult to stay in the game as a Cav player. And something else to consider with this, because I even got more ways to show you the difference, okay? I'm going to open up my rock battles, and I'm going to show you. Now, what I've done over here is I've gone into my battles and my pairings. This is my Attila David. Let me show you guys something. We're going to go back to a range of July 1st, and we're going to run that to July 30th, okay? These were all my garrisons, all right? I'm going to exclude these battles. Open field, swarming, and rally. We're just talking garrisons, okay? Now, this is before Pincer 2 came out. This is on my Attila David, my garrison, okay? When you come down here, my weighted trade was 170%. Now, that's against swarms and everything, but that's my weighted trade was 170%. That's the most important thing I look for in a rally or garrison, okay? And so 1,200 battles, I had all kinds of sample of that. Now, here's what happens. When Pincer 2.0 was introduced, and that was on Friday the 31st, all right? And then I run this to today now, I think August 2nd. That would be Sunday. And so this is after Pincer 2.0. Look what happened to my garrison. I go from 170% to 137%. Hey, yo. That is a clear discrepancy. That when I'm taking these rallies, when it comes to Pincer 2.0, woo! I mean, it's doing a lot more damage. And I can't handle that like I used to be able to with my Attila and my David. But it's not just that. Even against the high-end garrisons that were really working well, okay? We were doing the high-end garrisons. Where's he at? And he's got a whole lot of cool stuff in here, but it's almost like when you ran the CPO Milianus, even with this counter effect or counterattack effect that he does when you try to silence him, it didn't matter. The CPO Milianus was just cooking, man. Just cook, even against that. And also in the garrisons, when we would run Gorgo, okay, because we had some good ones. I mean, TI, amazing. Okay, Crix is running his Gorgos absolutely amazing, and we're running it with Pincer 2.0, and they actually did so well with Pincer 2.0 running Gorgo that they were combating the let me see here, the Archer rallies. Look at this. This was a Gorgo Martel that we switched over to Gorgo and we switched over to Gorgo David, all right? But they were swarming it, so we were just throwing a Martel in there, and we did pretty good on the kill point trade and on the deads. But it holds its own at least. I mean, it's almost like Pincer, guys. Pincer 2.0, this is a rally and garrison set. That's just what I'm telling you. That is the result, okay? When you look at the skills and what Cleaver does, all right, you're doing high damage with your rallies and garrisons, and for over 2,000 damage factor, okay? Once you exceed that, for every 200 damage factor, you get 5% target troops health. All right, you're going to ignore 5% of that health. That stacks up to 5 times. You're going to ignore 25% health of the rally or garrison. Hey, yo, really good. And then you also gain 2% rage. And so you're just firing off nonstop. With CPO Milianus and Ivar, you're firing off nonstop when you start stacking Cleaver, okay? Not as good in the field. It's hard to get it to do that with all the back and forth fighting. And then over here on Bulwark, you're not missing anything because you're combating the combo, but you also got a little bit extra enhancement with 2% damage, all right? And then from this, whenever the Earl's troops is hit with a basic attack, you have a 50% chance to take 10% less damage and deal 20% more smite damage for 3 seconds. That fires off all the time, especially in a rally or garrison. The cooldown of 5 seconds. And then, of course, tiebreaker, you've got the 2.5% increase and boost. All right. And then when it comes to dominate, oh, man, this thing's so good for rally and garrisons. 7% boost to smite damage dealt. If the target has more than 50% units remaining, the yielder troop deals 20% more smite damage to it for 3 seconds. If it doesn't, which in a rally and garrison, that 50% unit drops down extremely fast, okay? Then every time you smack the thing, you get a 30% bonus to that smite damage dealt. So whether CPO Milianus or Ivar in a rally is smacking the garrison, you get a 30% bonus to that. And there's only a 3-second cooldown. How crazy is that? That's like what we're dealing with here. And so in the field, because you've got some different situations to where you've got some stacking stuff that go on, some different things that happen when it comes to instant procs that go on, okay? Not as crucial in the field. And like I show you the difference in my reports, right? When I showed you this is before Pincer 2, I was running Pincer 1 on this, getting 147%. You can see the 1.47 there. And then after Pincer 2, went up just a little bit. It's a good little... it's marginal, just a little bit of an increase in the field, great. But on the Rally and Garrisons, holy geez. Guys, I run one of the best cav garrisons in the game, right? I've got all the things you want. And I fear absolutely nothing or no one when it comes to the rallies. I know my Attila David will hold its own against anything, all right? But now, when I've got to go up against a really good infantry set and a really good infantry garrison or a really good infantry rally in Shatterstorm, hey, yo, Pincer 2.0 is cooking my Attila. What's going on here? We got to figure this out real fast. Delta 2 can't come fast enough. Holy geez. So that's where we're at. And of course, in Kingsland, you got to run a lot of Attila David because you're going to get swarmed like crazy. Okay, so even though I get cooked by the rally here, when you actually look at the overall trade, I do better in my kill points because I'm cooking all the different AoE and I'm cooking the swarms. Okay, people want to come swarm this, come on and swarm it. All right, you're going to take a ton of deads. And so that's the thing. And you still have Attila David garrisons to combat the swarms. But just know that if you got a Pincer 2 that's being well reinforced, okay, you're going to get cooked a bit. You're going to get cooked because Pincer 2 on CPO Milianus and Ivar is incredible. It's the same thing when rallying a Gorgo and Hector or a Gorgo and Toku. Pincer 2 just really, really good. Like, it sucks for archers because you're like hardly trading positive. You're like trading even when you're putting a Shapur rally on a Gorgo now. And for your garrison, you've been cooking everything with Hayam, but now the infantry rally can go take Hayam and say, hey, we're going to come at you, and you got a hard time trading positive. Like, that's what Pincer 2 does. So it's a rally garrison set. It's really, really good for that. But for the field, guys, don't waste a whole bunch of stones flipping everything to Pincer 2.0 for the field. Okay, and so there's your PSA for today. I've got all kinds of reports, all kinds of city rallies, all kinds of results with my marches. Got more content to put out now that 606 is done with our KVK. And how did I do in this KVK, by the way? Hey, yo, let's go look on the Expedition leaderboard. I finished 5th in kill points. Let's go. Okay, in my deads, I was 6. I dropped a lot of power. Okay, and my heals, I was 3rd. Hey, yo, but my trades were pretty good. They weren't bad at all. And so that's what you got. I fought a ton with this, had a good time in this particular KVK. We've got Kingsland pretty much wrapped up here, and we'll be done with that. Now I'm going to get more sample on my actual infantry account because I'll run a lot of rallies in 2359 with my infantry account because I got all the things. Pincer 2 and all the things. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Throw a like on here. Also, got to announce our winner. I didn't do it at the beginning of the video. I got to do it at the end here. Our winner for the previous video that talked about Pincer 2 is Kyle. Killer Kyle, let's go. 2359. I think that's Killer Kyle. When I made the comment last video, 6 one way, half a dozen another. He says, I like that. I'm stealing that. Bro, that's an old saying. It's basically same saying. And when I was referring to Pincer 2.0, I was referring to some of these different special inscriptions when it came to Pincer. And I'm like, okay, you got Toppler here and you got Dominate. Well, they're pretty even. 6 one way, half a dozen another. Hey, yo. So got to appreciate my boy Kyle. You win the $10 flex. And if you want to enter to win, all you got to do is put a comment down in the comment section. Everybody knows this. For the month of July and August, now that we're into August, I'm going to announce a winner every single video. I'm going to take a random comment from the previous video. So if you want to win next video, put a comment down in this video and you enter for your chance to win. So love you guys. Appreciate you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, no matter if it's morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you may be. And we will see you later, broskies.